Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about why you can't be upset about or dwell upon missed lifts in a negative manner. Because this is one of these things that a lot of times we can get an emotional attachment to, particularly for an important lift. Like for me the other day, I was going to try a 605 conventional deadlift. Right, I normally do all these variations, walked in to get the 605, and it didn't go so well. Same thing on that 605 1-inch sumo block pull. You know, the thing is, we have to look at these things and put them in perspective. And a lot of times when we miss a lift, it seems like a big deal to us, but there's things that we need to remember. First of all, why is it that we do max effort training? Why do we do max effort training? And some of this can apply to your rep work also, and we'll get to that in a minute. But we do max effort training in order to, number one, learn how to strain maximally against a heavy weight that's above 90%, right? Because number one, that's the only way to develop the skill of lifting heavy. All right, lifting heavy is a skill, but when I say it's a skill, it's not a high technique skill. It's not this really difficult thing, but it is a skill in the sense of learning how to position your body. In other words, you can use sometimes a less than optimal bar path to do 5 heavy reps on a deadlift or a squat or a bench press. But what you're going to find is that when you get to your personal maximum weight, there's only going to be one bar path and one hip position, and everything else is going to allow you to pull the maximum weight that you're capable of. And it is much, much harder to find that doing 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, whatever else. Not only going to say much harder, I'm going to say it's impossible to find that. It's why ultimately I always tell guys that 1-rep maxes are a test of your ability to do 1-rep maxes relative to the hypertrophy on your personal frame, right? That's why at the end of the day, lifting heavy and having big lifts is really not even about skill, technical skill, but rather learning how to groove maxes and being as jacked as possible, right? Hypertrophy and practicing maxes. That's ultimately what gives you a big max. So let's come over to the point. Why do we do max effort lifts? We do them to develop the skill of lifting maximally. We do them to test our current strength levels and to identify our weak points. Well, what do we mean by a weak point? Well, a weak point is what muscles need to grow. It's what muscles need to grow. If you miss a deadlift at the bottom, like I just did, or let's say some of these a sumo, right, missing a sumo deadlift at the bottom only means one of two things. It either means your glutes were not strong enough to break it off the floor, or your grip was too weak for you to engage what you needed. Right, now you would look at that one right there. I barely locked that lift. That was a grip issue. And then I went up like 10 pounds. Went up 10 pounds. Well, what happened as a result of that? I missed it. I couldn't even break it off the floor. Well, the other one was a grip issue. The one was a grip issue. And actually for me, grip has historically been my deadlift weakness. So we can use this to identify our weak links. We can identify our weak links. So here's what I would suggest to people. When you miss a lift, you miss a big lift, you have to emotionally let go of it. You have to use it for a tool, the tool that it is. And if you're emotionally connected to it or upset about it, you're not going to be able to identify what the problem is. Now, we come over to the other point. Why are you lifting heavy without someone watching it or filming it? That would be the biggest question for a lot of people. We live in a world where it's very easy to film literally everything that you do. If you don't have a coach or a skilled lifter watching your lift, you need to film it. All your big lifts. Film them. You can identify your weak links, unless of course you can do it by feel. Now, what about when you make a big lift? Well, that will still tell you your weak links too a lot of times, won't it? When you hit a PR When you hit a real PR or a successful max lift that's above 95%, what's one thing that everybody notices? One of your muscles hurts immediately after. It's probably your weak link. You need to work on that. So what we have to do is learn to use these as tools, because we can ramp any lift high enough till we miss it. So if you happen to miss it, you can't stand there and dwell on it. And I've have clients who will do that. They'll dwell on a missed PR. And it's like, well, what good is that? What good is that? Now you're reinforcing negative feelings that's going to make you weaker. It's going to elevate cortisol, and you're imprinting in your own brain that you're a loser who can't lift a big weight. And people say, oh, okay, well, instead I'll take it the other direction and put an emotional attachment. I'll get it next time. No, I don't think that's a good idea either. You need to cut the emotional attachment out completely to a mislift. Step back, be objective. Because I'll get it next time. No, that's not useful. That doesn't help you either. You need to look at it and say, aha, I need to work on my grip. I need to work on my hamstrings. I need to work on my glutes. I need to work on my triceps. Okay? That's what you need to say. Because the only reason we miss any lift is that something wasn't strong enough. Right? The guy who's 5 pounds from breaking a new world record and hasn't broken it yet probably has one muscle he needs to get stronger. One muscle he needs to get stronger. Now, this isn't necessarily useful for the true novice lifter, because we're not doing maxes and they need to just get stronger in general. They need to get stronger in general. Now, what else do mislifts tell us? Tell us that maybe we're over fatigued. Might be time to change something up. Might be time to rotate that big lift out of your rotation. Use a variation. But these are valuable tools. Missing the lifts, even important lifts, even lifts you thought you were going to make, is a valuable tool. We get feedback from it. We collect data from it. We use it to make ourselves better. But in order to do that, you have to be objective. You have to be objective. And if you're upset about something, it is impossible to be objective about it. Impossible to be objective about it. It's like there, look at that lift. That was a soft lockout because my grip was slippery. But what have I been doing? I've been specializing in grip since that. Probably by the time this video comes out, I'll probably be hitting some deadlift PRs again. Maybe, we'll see. But the point is, you can't dwell on it. You can't be upset about it. Because we do maxes to learn to max out. We do maxes to learn to fully actualize our maximum strength that we have built with our muscular size and coordination. We use them to learn how to strain and how to find our ideal body positions to get in our grooves. Okay? That's why we do max effort training. We use it to go to school. Now, what happens when you miss something on rep work? Well, that's generally a sign that you just aren't big enough. Okay? Because there's a lot less skill involved with a 5 rep set or a 10 rep set. It's not about coordination at that point. You simply do not have enough hypertrophy to lift the target number of reps and sets right now. Or you're so fatigued because you got a bad night's sleep or insufficient nutrition that you can't do it. So that just tells you need to get bigger. Tells you need to get bigger in general. But you only get bigger by doing the work with the volume on that exercise and its supplemental lifts. So that's different. Now, can you have an emotional attachment to that? Yeah, you have emotional attachment to not being bigger. You need to be eating more food. You need to be doing more training volume, and you probably need to be sleeping more. There you go. You can have an emotional attachment to that because that's different. But yeah, on the maxes, you have to detach from it. Because if you can't detach, you can't be objective. And you just raise your cortisol and you imprint negative things in your brain instead of using it as a positive tool that you could use it for to get bigger and stronger. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.